The moment the USA basketball roster dropped, my phone exploded. Notifications, timelines, chaos, and right there, front and center, Caitlyn Clark, joined by Angel Reese, Paige Bueckers, Aaliyah Boston, Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Kahleah Copper, and Jackie Young. 2 years ago, Clark was snubbed, the world lost its mind, and hot takes flew in every direction.
Caitlyn Clark will put the three up and in. Her second three of the game. Caitlyn.
Now she's back, and this isn't just a qualifier in San Juan, Puerto Rico. It's a proving ground where futures are forged, reputations tested, and every pass, shot, and defensive stop matters. All of it lands at the most volatile moment in WNBA history. No collective bargaining agreement, negotiations dragging 16 months, and a May season looming. This roster isn't just a list of players, it's a flashpoint, a statement, and a potential turning point for the entire league. Clark, Reese, Bueckers, February 11th. USA Basketball makes it official. 12 names, and right at the center of the announcement, the three players who have, more than anyone else, redefined the visibility of women's basketball over the past 3 years. Caitlyn Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Bueckers, all three made their senior national team competitive debuts. Let that sink in. Three of the most famous basketball players in America, players who have been on magazine covers, who have signed 8-figure endorsement deals, who have single-handedly driven television ratings to historic highs, and none of them have ever played a competitive game for the senior national team until now. Clark in particular. This is a player who averaged 16.5 points and 8.8 assists per game in her 2025 WNBA season.
Clark will not be back this season. She will miss the rest of the 2025 WNBA season.
Before injuries cut her to just 13 games. Who shot 88.7% from the free throw line. Who proved healthy enough to participate in the December training camp at Duke, and by all reports looked like herself again. The court vision, the range, the ability to control tempo in a way that very few guards in the world can match. And now she's wearing the red, white, and blue. Finally. I think what hit people hardest about this announcement wasn't surprise, it was relief. There's been this cloud hanging over Clark's national team story ever since the 2024 Olympics. It wasn't just that she didn't make the roster, it was how it felt. It felt like the establishment saying, not yet. And a lot of people, fans, media, sponsors heard that as not ever. This announcement doesn't erase that, but it does change the trajectory. It says, we see her. She belongs here. Let's go. The full roster is a fascinating mix. You've got your Olympic gold medalists in Copper, Gray, Plum, and Young. You've got Dearica Hamby and Rhyne Howard, who won 3x3 bronze in Paris. You've got 2025 WNBA All-Star rookies Sonia Citron and Kiki Iriafen. And you've got Aaliyah Boston reuniting with Clark in a fever backcourt-front court pairing that could be electric on the international stage. Kara Lawson is coaching with Stephanie White, Clark's fever coach, as an assistant. Breanna Stewart participated in the March training camp but won't play in the tournament. Aja Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, and Nafisa Collier are all absent from this particular squad, in which brings us to the part where everyone starts arguing. Youth versus veterans. The lineup debate. Let's talk about the part that's got everyone fired up. The starting lineup. This roster is guard-heavy. Really guard-heavy. Count them with me. Caitlyn Clark, Paige Bueckers, Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Rhyne Howard, Sonia Citron. That's 6 backcourt players on a 12-player roster, which means someone's coming off the bench. And in today's women's basketball landscape, the starting 5 isn't just about minutes. It's a public statement of value, of trust, of who defines the team's identity. The debate started even before the roster was official. Back in November, a social media post floated a hypothetical starting 5: Clark, Kahleah Copper, Jackie Young, Dearica Hamby, and Aaliyah Boston. Within a day, it racked up over 200,000 views, with replies exploding. Caitlyn Clark over Chelsea Gray in competitive basketball?
Chelsea Gray is fouled. She will go to the free throw line here. Gray is an 83% free throw shooter.
That single question summed up the tension. Both sides have legitimate arguments. Start Clark, and you're betting on the future. At 24, she averaged 8.8 assists per game in 2025 before injuries cut her season short. She shot 88.7% from the free throw line and has court vision that manipulates defenses, creating opportunities for everyone around her. On the international stage, where the spacing is different, Clark's playmaking becomes even more dangerous. She doesn't just run the offense, she bends it to her will. Start Gray, and you're choosing experience. She's an Olympic gold medalist, a World Cup champion.
I love the Olympics. I've loved the Olympics ever since I was a young kid, and they're going to be just fine. They're going to win gold and dominate, so I'm not worried.
And a WNBA title winner. Her mid-range game is precise, her decision-making impeccable, and her leadership is battle-tested. Gray stabilizes the floor, controls the pace, and minimizes mistakes when it matters most. She's the quintessential floor general. But asking who should start isn't the right question. This tournament isn't just about Senegal or Spain. It's about building a championship-ready backcourt for Berlin in September. Kara Lawson has 5 qualifying games to experiment, to see Clark and Buchers together, to test rotations and spacing, and to give Gray crucial minutes against the toughest competition. Sue Bird is watching too, evaluating how these combinations will translate to the final World Cup roster. The absences matter as well. Aya Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Nafisa Collier, and Brianna Stewart aren't on this squad. Their omission doesn't mean they're off the World Cup roster. It means the tournament is designed to evaluate the next generation. Veterans have proven themselves. Now the spotlight is on the rising stars, sharing the court with legends, learning to coexist, and staking their claim. This isn't a simple debate. No lineup will satisfy everyone, and that's the point. Every minute, assist, and rotation is under scrutiny. These aren't exhibition games. They're auditions, statements, and a glimpse into the generational shift underway in women's basketball. Clark, Buchers, Gray, and the rest aren't just playing for wins. They're defining who this team will become, while the world watches every pass, every play, every decision. And yet, while fans argue over who should start, the way this moment is marketed, or ignored, is telling its own story. And the narrative off the court is just as revealing as the action on it. This qualifying tournament is about more than points or minutes. It's about legacy, identity, and the future of an entire sport. Roster announcement fumble. Okay, let me rant for 1 second. Just one. When USA Basketball dropped the official roster graphic, the announcement image that was supposed to generate excitement and engagement and get people talking, who did they feature? Not Clark, not Reese, not Buchers. The 3 most marketable, most followed, most algorithm-breaking basketball players in America. And they weren't the faces of the announcement. Now look, I get it. There's a balance between respecting veterans and leaning into new stars. You don't want to make Olympic gold medalists feel like afterthoughts on their own national team, right? But this is also marketing. This is communication. And in 2026, the players who move the needle on social media, who drive engagement, who make casual fans click, it's Clark, Reese, and Buchers. That's not a value judgment. It's data. Caitlyn Clark's presence alone shifted the economics of the Indiana Fever. She turned road games into sellouts across the entire WNBA. Her college games drew Super Bowl-level audiences. And you're going to announce a roster she's on and not put her front and center? That's not a betrayal of the veterans. That's an understanding of the moment you're in. The thing is, and this is something I think the WNBA as an institution is still learning. Narratives are fuel. The Clark-Reese dynamic alone has generated more mainstream attention for women's basketball than decades of marketing budgets combined. That you don't have to manufacture drama between them. You just have to acknowledge that the story exists and let it breathe. A single graphic of Clark, Reese, and Buchers in Team USA gear with the caption, "The Next Generation," would have broken every engagement record USA Basketball has ever set. Instead, we got a standard roster announcement that felt like it was designed by committee rather than by anyone who actually understands how content works in 2026. Small thing? Maybe. But small things add up, and a league fighting for a transformational CBA needs every ounce of public attention it can get. Which brings us to the real elephant in the room. CBA countdown crisis. Here's where the energy shifts. Because everything I've just talked about, the roster, the starting lineup debates, or the marketing decisions, all of it exists in the shadow of a labor dispute that could delay or shorten the 2026 WNBA season. Let me lay out where things stand as of right now, because this situation is moving fast. The previous CBA expired on January 9th. In December, 98% of players voted to authorize a strike if necessary. Since then, the two sides have been in a status quo period, technically still negotiating, but without a binding agreement. The core issue is revenue sharing, and the gap is significant. The players' union, the WNBPA, has been asking for a percentage of gross revenue.
WNBPA Executive Committee has been authorized to call a strike when necessary.
The total money coming in before expenses. Their latest counterproposal sent this week asked for an average of 27.5% of gross over the length of the deal, starting at 25% in year one. That's down from their earlier ask of over 30%. The league, meanwhile, is offering more than 70% of net revenue. What's left after expenses like charter flights, upgraded facilities, five-star hotels, medical services, and arena costs are subtracted. Those two frameworks, gross versus net, produce radically different numbers. The league's February 7th proposal offered a $5.65 million salary cap for 2026, with an average salary above $535,000 and a max near $1.3 million. For context, the 2025 salary cap was about $1.5 million total. The supermax was roughly $249,000, and the average salary was around $120,000. Even the league's offer represents a massive increase, but the players see gross revenue numbers and believe they deserve more of the pie that their labor creates. Housing has emerged as another flashpoint. Like the WNBA has provided housing for players since 1999. The league's proposal scaled that back. The players pushed back. The latest counter suggests teams continue covering housing in the early years of the deal, with max salary players covering their own in the final years. It's a compromise, but the details matter enormously when you're a mid-level player making $400,000 in a city where rent could eat a significant chunk of that. ESPN spoke anonymously with a dozen WNBA-connected players at Athletes Unlimited in early February. When asked to rate their confidence that the season starts on time on a scale of 1 to 10, the average was 6.1. The most common answer was 5. One player said she was at a 2. Another gave an 8. The vibe, overwhelmingly, was a shrug. It's either gonna happen or it's not. I can't worry about something I can't control. One quote stuck with me. A player said, "I feel like we're asking for a lot. I know we deserve it, but at the same time, it's kind of like we're kind of getting greedy. We're doing a lot of asking. I feel like we need to do a lot of doing." That's not a player who's against the union. That's a player who's genuinely wrestling with what's fair. And that tension between what you deserve and what the market can currently sustain is the heart of this entire negotiation. Brianna Stewart, who serves as WNBPA Vice President, has been the most visible voice from the players' side. After a face-to-face meeting between the two sides in early February, she sounded cautiously optimistic. She told Yahoo Sports, "The CBA proposal that we got, there's movement. We got traction. Now we're finally headed in a direction." But she also said something revealing. "It has been 17, 18 months and we haven't negotiated. We've just been fighting about, we don't like your proposal and you don't like our proposal, and nobody's gonna budge." Adam Silver weighed in during All-Star Weekend, calling this the 11th hour and urging both sides to escalate their urgency. He acknowledged the obvious. The league is riding historic momentum. Fan interest is up. Commercial success is up. Player popularity is up. A work stoppage right now wouldn't just cost games. It would cost years of built-up goodwill at the worst possible time. Training camps are supposed to open April 19th. The season is supposed to start May 8th.
That I've been working for since our season ended, the training staff and player development and everybody that has kind of been there.
And before any of that can happen, when they still need to conduct a double expansion draft for the Toronto Tempo and Portland Fire and run the most chaotic free agency period in league history, because nearly every non-rookie player is currently unsigned. Nafisa Collier, the WNBA vice president, offered a more measured take just today, saying negotiations are trending in the right direction and that there's finally movement after weeks of stalemate. But she also acknowledged the obvious. They're not where they need to be. Not yet. And movement is not the same as agreement. Here's what keeps me up at night about this. For every Caitlyn Clark or Breanna Stewart making 7 figures from endorsements alone, there's a player making the league minimum who genuinely needs housing provided, whose CBA priorities are completely different from the max salary stars who get the microphones. One anonymous player told ESPN, "We went wrong in the last CBA by not taking care of the middle-of-the-pack players. Hopefully we don't see that happening again." That's the internal tension within the union that never makes headlines. Not every player wants the same thing, and a deal that works for the top has to work for the bottom too. The clock isn't ticking, it's screaming. A league at a crossroads. Take a step back with me for a second. Zoom out. 3 years ago, women's basketball was a niche product. Ratings were modest, attendance was stable but unspectacular. Endorsement deals for WNBA players were a fraction of what their male counterparts earned. The league existed and it mattered, but it lived in the margins of the American sports conversation. And then Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese played a college basketball game in April 2023 that changed everything. I know that's an oversimplification. I know it was building before that. But that LSU-Iowa game and everything that followed, the championship run, the rivalries, the draft, the rookie season, it cracked the whole thing open. Suddenly, women's basketball was on television. Suddenly, arenas were selling out. Suddenly, media companies were bidding for broadcast rights. Suddenly, expansion franchises were worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And now we're here, at the crossroads, the place where momentum either translates into permanent structural change, the CBA, the salaries, the facilities, the respect, or it stalls out because the people in charge couldn't agree on how to divide the money that these players are generating. Clark's Team USA call-up is part of this bigger picture. It's not just a basketball decision. It's a signal. It says, we're building the future. We're putting the players people want to see on the biggest stages. We're not repeating 2024, but the signal means nothing if the season doesn't start on time. It means nothing if mid-level players are still worried about housing. It means nothing if the league and the union can't find common ground on whether to split gross or net. And the whole thing collapses into a work stoppage while the rest of the sports world watches and says, well, that was fun while it lasted. This moment is bigger than Clark. It's bigger than any one player. But Clark is the avatar of it. She's the player whose career trajectory most perfectly mirrors the league's trajectory. Unprecedented talent, unprecedented attention, unprecedented expectations, and a whole lot of unresolved questions about what comes next. And in Puerto Rico, for 5 games in March, she'll finally get to wear the jersey she should have worn 2 years ago. She'll run pick and rolls with Aaliyah Boston. She'll share a backcourt with Paige Buchers for the first time since they won together at the youth level in 2019. She'll play alongside Angel Reese, the player whose rivalry has done more for women's basketball than any marketing campaign in history, as teammates, on the same side, in the same uniform. And whether that roster becomes the foundation of something permanent depends entirely on what happens in the boardrooms between now and May. The cameras will roll, the whistles will blow, and the first games in Puerto Rico will decide more than just wins and losses.
USA building on their lead. Puerto Rico, it shows what it means to the whole organization.
They'll define a generation, a league, and the fragile momentum that women's basketball has fought so hard to build. Contracts, negotiations, and boardroom decisions loom just as large as the players on the court, and every move, on and off the hardwood, carries weight. This isn't a season, this is a turning point. And when the lights fade and the echoes settle, one question remains. Can the league rise fast enough to match the talent, ambition, and audacity of the players who are rewriting the game?